Her eyes were steel, steel blue. I felt them freeze the brown of my own. She was the principal, yet she seemed more. How old was she? 60, 70, maybe 92? Yet she walked with her back straight, her thin white hair bleached to pale blonde. She fought time. Her eyes were too sharp for age. I imagined her 20 years ago, scanning her reflection in the mirror and spotting that first white hair in the locks of gold. Gasping with horror, reaching up to cut it, but the white would still come. At last she bleached it, killed her own cells that were already dead. But as my mother once said, to dye your hair was for your hair to die. And I believed it. I shrank beneath my lunch bag as she walked by, her steel blue eyes always on patrol, her limp bleached locks dangling over her shoulders. They hated her, some of my friends, hated every morsel. They said she was racist. There were rumors all around the school. But perhaps they were just rumors. We all feared her, the principal. I feared her too, not just because she was white. My father was too. But he didn't have those steel blue eyes. He didn't have her reputation. But my mother who made me the 50-50, said to give her a chance. I feared her still. I feared her voice. It cracked like a whip, old but firm. I felt it one day, running across the street towards my mother's car, when she screamed like a wild hyena and yanked the handle of my backpack, dragging me back to the sidewalk, telling me not to run, not knowing I'd fear her forever, or it felt like forever. Time passes slowly for the young. But then again, perhaps forever wasn't forever. Because one day, when I left that school, when I left it for good, one day I saw her standing by the fence, all alone and silent except for the walkie-talkie buzzing from her belt. When she looked up, the icy blue eyes seemed to have thawed, just a bit, but enough, and then she smiled.
Okay, really, really. Um, and Annie, that's one of those perfect little pieces that just I just think is magical that in half an hour it has this fabulous beginning, middle, and end. It's beautiful. And what a strong beginning. Her eyes were her eyes were steel. Um, and this leitmotif, which means this repeating pattern, repeating theme of the blue eyes, the steely blue eyes, that differentiates her from everybody else, is really strong. And that you at the very end, she still has these eyes, but now they've just softened slightly, and she smiles, which of course she had never, I gather, smiled before. Um, Really interesting issue of racism, race, and skin color. I'm gathering that most people in the school are not white. You say her father is. I actually know somebody whose um, son identifies with being African American completely, and he's very dark complexioned, but his mother is white, and there is that tension in that family. Um, um, I really, really appreciated this really clever way you talked about dyeing hair. The dyeing what was that line about dyeing the dead hair? Can you read that again? It was really beautiful.
Yeah, it said, um, as my mother once said, to dye your hair is for your hair to die.
Yeah, it's lovely. I mean, just really lovely. You've got the alliteration there to dye the hair. Um, and then she repeats it again is to dye. It's lovely, just lovely. And maybe that's all I'm going to say. Um, and there's all this drama. She screams like a wild hyena. Um, but it's all held together in terms of the larger than life character that you can describe with this steely blue eyes that you keep coming back to. And then this issue of the skin. So really well done. Thank you.